As many of you know, I am an atheist, and I don't believe in God. It's something that is out of my control. I can't believe even if I wanted to. It's like me asking you to believe in Thor and Zeus. It's just not gonna happen. But I do understand the value of religion. I think a priest a day keeps Karl Marx away. And Karl Marx needs to be kept far, far away. As such, I do understand that religion has a positive effect on society. Not all religions, mind you. I wouldn't advocate for the Aztec religion to come back, the one that had human sacrifices and whatnot. I don't think all religions are created equal. But I am very happy with the Orthodox Church here in my country. I can't really complain about them. The only criticism that a lot of people have is that some priests go a little bit overboard in their pursuit of financial gain, like sanctifying cars. I understand that in Russia they were sanctifying weapons, giving holy damage to the Russian soldiers. That is a little bit too much for my taste. But what a lot of people also are unaware is that the Orthodox Church also donates a lot of money for charity. And the reason you don't know about it, unless you actively go looking for it, is that the church believes in doing good without priding yourself to do the good. So they donate, but they shut the fuck up, which kind of doesn't help with their PR. So for example, in my country, the church donated tens of thousands of dollars for hospital equipment. They even have a couple of hospitals within the administration of the church itself. So I can't really complain that they're not doing anything. Of course, there might be some priests that have a little bit more wealth than others, and some priests are a little bit more greedy and more sinful. But, you know, every single profession has its bad apples. But hey, at least when I'm talking with a Marxist, he really can't say anything bad about the Orthodox Church. If he tries with the Inquisition, I can say, what Inquisition? Orthodox Church didn't have Inquisition. Burning witches, we didn't do that. Like next. What else you got? Pedophilia in the church. No, we don't have it. It's not like the Catholic Church that can say one of the priests were holding nuns as sex slaves. None of that here. We don't have people going into other nations, doing attacks, trying to become martyrs in the name of the church. We do not have that. So when it comes to the Orthodox Church, I'm really happy about the fact that they have better PR than most other religions, I would like to say. But recently, they are doing their best in order to throw away that good PR and to show the rest of the world that they can also be a little bit backwards. So in a time where the government is shutting down clubs, is shutting down restaurants, is limiting public transportation, and is having all of these measures in order to keep people safe so that we don't end up like Italy or Spain, heaven forbid, the church in its infinite wisdom decides not to cancel Mass. So in other words, if I want to go to Carrefour Felicia, I have to wait outside because they only allow 50 people in the store. But if you want to go to the cathedral of Metropolia, then you can. And there can be even 200 people. There can be even a mass gathering. Heaven forbid if they allow Saint Paraskiva to take place this year. Heaven forbid. Hopefully, there's going to be a way to prevent it from happening. But there is a little bit more until we talk about that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. In the meantime, even if I disagree with the idea of the churches continuing the Mass, recently in the news, this Einstein appeared. And this bishop, in his ultra-infinite wisdom, decides to give communion to the masses. Now, if you do not know what giving communion in the Orthodox way is, they have this little spoon and they give a spoon of wine to all the people that are there. The same spoon. Yes. Are these people dumb? Like, no, seriously, there are young people that you want to attract to the church. I assume. And I hope you do, because again, a priest a day keeps the Marxists out. I want the Marxists far away, but you are literally giving yourself bad PR. You are looking like morons. And I understand the idea that God protects the faithful. But let me put it this way. Back in the day, people didn't understand electricity. People thought that Zeus is throwing lightning bolts, that Thor is spinning his hammer. Nowadays, we understand electricity. If you had a priest telling you to hold up a rod in the middle of a field during a storm, would you do it? If the priest would say, look, if you pray hard, you hold this metal rod up and nothing will happen to you, would you do it? No, you wouldn't. Why wouldn't you? Because you understand how lightning works. And the exact same way, we understand how bacteria and viruses work. So why would you go there? Why is the church doing this? Do you not understand that these are your core audience, the people going there, which are mostly elderly people? They're your core demographic. Do you really need that money for funerals that badly? Do you see that there is going to be a crisis coming soon, an economic crisis, and you're like, well, maybe we can make some money out of funerals. I don't know. I'm going to assume the worst because I know that if you're a bishop, you're an educated person. Like you went to a university, you can't be that dumb. Like literally, you cannot be that stupid. I understand if the priest in some village who hasn't gotten to any university and doesn't know a lot about the world is going to still have people to come in to mass. But if you're a bishop, someone that went to university, clearly you are not that dumb. I generally do not understand these people. I mean, you're telling me that if the bishop has an appendicitis, he wouldn't go to a doctor and instead he would pray in order to get it away? Like, I do understand the history of the church, that back in the day when people didn't know germ theory, they would pray to Jesus for absolution. And they would think that diseases come upon us if you are being sinful. Perfect, I understand that. But now we understand diseases. We know how they come. We know where they come from. Just like we understand electricity nowadays. You wouldn't, you wouldn't hold a metal rod in a field, even if you are the most pious person in the world, because you would know you're being an idiot. And not all religions are the same. Look, the Catholic Church, the Pope said, no more masses. People can stay at home and watch the mass from their television or from their computer through live streaming or whatever. Why can't the Catholics do it? Why are the Catholics a little bit more smarter? Saudi Arabia, a theocracy, has canceled the pilgrimage to Mecca. Do you understand how important this is? Okay, like every Muslim in the world is required that once in a lifetime, in his life, he goes to Mecca and assumes the position. So Saudi Arabia telling Muslims not to go there is massive. Massive. Like there are probably a lot of elderly Muslims that for them this might be the last year that they could have gotten to Mecca. And this theocracy, right? This country which is ruled by the word of God is saying, no, not this time, not today. Qatar, another theocracy, has decided that they're going to stop people from going onto mosque for the foreseeable future. So please tell me, why is it that other religions have more wisdom than the Orthodox Church? Now, don't get me wrong, it's not all religions, all right? Not all Muslims are created equal. In Iran, it seems that they are the equivalent of the Orthodox of the Muslim faith. Take this Imam, for example, who, when the sickness came, he said this is a punishment from Allah against the Chinese because they are oppressing their Muslim minorities. And then the Imam gets it. I would love to see the follow-up news, like how he managed to spin it around, how he managed to explain it away. And I understand, no, the Chinese are definitely oppressing their Muslim population, but still, again, this is not a gift from the heavens. No, like this is something that we understand how it works. I suppose it's like a plague of locusts. You wouldn't say that God sent the plague of locusts unless you live in 1000 minus BC era, then yeah, okay. But today we understand, yeah, we have pesticides for that. Like you don't get the priest to pray the locusts away. You either get ducks like the Chinese or you get pesticides. But anyway, right. No, Iran is also in a bad place because they also didn't take it seriously. And now I think it's the third most infected country in the world. Last time I checked, was number one was China, number two Italy, and number three Iran. And I understand that even their government has it. So no, it's really bad. And yeah, I mean, the more religious countries you're going to get, the more difficult it will be to quarantine people, because if the people genuinely believe, okay, I'm going to pray harder and God is going to give me divine protection, it's a bad thing. And then there's also like the rituals regarding funerals and, you know, pilgrimages and all of that. It is bad. Again, the Saint Paraskiva happens in my town. And there's two things that I'm worried. Number one, the people most affected are the religious people, right? Which most of them in my country, they're the elderly. Which is recommended for the elderly not to get pneumonia, as far as I know. Maybe I'm not the most well-versed doctor in the world, but I think it's not good for the elderly to get pneumonia. They're going to be the first ones to go. I prefer religious people. I like religious people. I tell you, it makes herd immunity from the Marxists. I like herd immunity from the Marxists. I want the religious people to keep living and to propagate their religious faith. Please, do it. Do it. Do it. But, come on, right? Just stop going to masses for this period of time. I'm pretty sure Jesus can hear your prayers while you're in your house. Pretty sure Jesus is not going to be upset if you do not go to church during this time. I think Jesus will understand. Okay, like, let me tell you a story that a priest once told me. There is a man who is drowning in the middle of the ocean. And a yacht comes by. A lot of degeneracy on the yacht, a party. But the rich man that owns the yacht sees the man drowning. And he tells the captain to try to pull a little bit over. And throws the guy a lifeline. And the guy says, no, I don't need you. I'm going to wait for God to save me. So the yacht goes away. After a while, a second boat comes. A fisherman boat. They roll up closer and they throw the guy a lifeline. Same thing. He says, no, I'm going to wait for God to save me. Eventually, a lifeguard happens to be close by. He sees the man, jumps into the water, goes to save him. The man punches the lifeguard, does his best in order to oppose. It's like, no, only God will save me. So eventually the lifeguard goes away. And the man drowns. So he goes to heaven in front of God and asks God, like, I am the most faithful man that I think exists on the planet Earth. Why did you not save me? And God says, well, you moron, I sent you 2 boats and a lifeguard, and you did not take any of them. So why can't we use that as an explanation? You know, like God doesn't save those who don't save themselves. I mean, if you have the knowledge in current year on how a disease spreads, how you can do to stop it, and the government tries to help you in this situation, and you choose not to be helped, who's going to be to blame?